Chamatkar Sandhu here in Berlin, Germany for the UFC Fight Night Berlin press conference, and I'm sitting alongside Garry Cook. Gary, first of all, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
Good. Well, the last time we spoke was at UFC London about a month ago now, or 5-6 weeks ago. Let's talk about London first of all. Looking back on it and reflecting on it, what are your thoughts? What did you learn, and what did you think of the entire experience with the first new series of events here in Europe?
Well, we kicked off obviously with Alexander Gustafsson and Jimmy Manoa as the mainline bout. It's the largest arena in Europe. We filled it. The fans did what I never doubted any of the excitement and the enthusiasm. They voted with tickets and they voted for a sellout. We were also on Channel 5 live, and we were also on BT Sport. Our overall television audience was in excess of 1.2 million viewers on a Saturday night between 9 and 11. That's pretty incredible. And so if you look at all of the basic metrics of a successful event, it was great. The irony of it, is that 50% of the audience that were live at the O2 had never been to a live event before, and over 30% had never seen UFC before, whether on television or otherwise. So London was a great benchmark for us because it shows that there's demand for it, but it also shows you we've got a long way to go. There's still a lot of people who are intrigued by the growth of MMA, the growth of UFC, and I think that as we look forward now to the other 5 events, Abu Dhabi, Berlin, Dublin, Stockholm and Istanbul, they're only going to continue to help us to measure our success.
Well, you talk about 1.2 million viewers. Is that a new record for viewership in the UK with the combined numbers of Channel 5 and BT Sport?
For the UFC, yes. Yeah. Oh, absolutely, yes. We'd never been on free-to-air. Yeah. We have a great partner in BT Sport. They do a lot of educational magazine programming. Gareth Davis leads the charge, on that show, which happens on a Tuesday at 9 o'clock. And it's the regularity of it, and it's the consistency of it, and in some cases it attaches itself to a different audience than the one that we've always attached ourselves to. So there's hardcore fans. We know they get it. We know they understand it. We know where they know where they're going to find it. But we've got to build a new audience. We've got to grow a bigger audience, and with the help of BT and with the help of Channel 5, and obviously all of the media's attention that was given to the O2 event in London, shows that people are now paying attention.
Well, we know that the BT Sports deal is a long-term deal, and the Channel 5 deal was a one-off. How did that go? What's your relationship right now with Channel 5, and will we get more UFC on Channel 5 in the future?
Well, they were remarkably surprised. I think their anticipation of an audience was probably 50% of that they achieved. So it's in their interest to continue. We are always being put in a position of strength. We are the rights holder. We are the content provider. Our production team create the greatest live sport production, I think, in across all of the major sports even. We always get commented and complimented on our production levels. We're there. People know who we are. People know what we've got. And now we've delivered over 1 million viewers. And so what we tend to do in negotiations is we tend to hold that position for a while. So we'll keep you posted on what's going on.
All right, sounds good. All right, well, here we are. We're in Berlin, and I've just seen you get interviewed by the major kind of media outlets here based in Berlin and Germany. What have been some of the questions they've been asking you? What kind of information are they trying to extract out of you in this press conference so far?
Well, there's a little bit of a legacy that follows on in Germany, and I won't go into all the detail, but briefly. We had 2 events here, one in Oberhausen and one in Cologne, the last one in 2009, and it didn't get well received from a press standpoint, and we had some naive and unprofessional reports being made about the sport, its impact on culture and its impact on society. Now, we need to be respectful of local culture always, but it was quite damaging actually to not only to our sport, to our brand, and to our business. So we've worked hard over the last 3 or 4 years to try and reposition ourselves with the authorities. We're not on television in this marketplace. and we've worked hard with the authorities on that. And again, it's about educating people and it's about informing people. So when we announced that we were coming to Berlin, because Berlin is one of the world's great cities, it's certainly one of the epicenters for the European world market. When we made that announcement, we knew that we were probably going to receive a continuation of that backlash. And I can quite honestly say, unfortunately, the press conference today, the announcement about tickets, everything, it's actually gone the other way. There's people now saying that they understand the sport, but they were probably unfair representations of the sport. And the largest newspaper distributor here is a newspaper called Bild, and they've had a piece every day this week talking about what the sport's all about, because they recognize that the athletes are elite performing athletes. And Germany, as you well know, has been a powerhouse in sport, in many different sports, since time immemorial. So it's nothing different than they should expect in their landscape of a sporting nation.
We've already got a confirmed date for Dublin in July. Any confirmed dates for Sweden or for Budapest, is it, or Istanbul later on in the year?
Yeah, well, Istanbul is our latest, the latest in the year. That will be November the 22nd, I believe that is.
Okay.
And then as we look at Sweden, right now, and I say right now, we have planned for October the 3rd. Okay. I think I'm not giving away any secrets when everybody knows what we want to see in Sweden. And we've got a lot of options open to us. I was on the phone to Lorenzo yesterday about that very subject. So we'll leave that in the can for now, but I think you know what we're talking about. Right. I think if you look then at Dublin, Colin McGregor only has to pop his head around the corner and all of a sudden the whole of Dublin turns out. So we think that that's going to be great. That's on July the 17th. And so, we're in Abu Dhabi next week, April the 11th, on a Friday night. And here we are in Berlin on the 31st. Now, as we've gone through 6 events, we don't see any one of them creating us any challenges, problems. In fact, there's even more demand for more cities. So we're hoping to get to 10 to 12 in 2015. Wow. So we're already in discussions with other cities who are now starting to say, please come, please come, please come. Whereas years ago it was, can we come?
All right. Well, just a few things I wanted to pick up on from when we last spoke here in London. TUF here in Europe. Any news? I know that there was some talk about potentially a UK versus Ireland, or maybe even a 4-nation style TUF with Scotland and Wales getting involved as well. Is there any update or any news that you can break for us at the moment about the new TUF series in Europe?
There isn't any new news. I think one of the challenges for us always is about the creation and production. It's a 9-month process. And we want to make sure that we've got the right nations, if it's going to be nations. We want to make sure we've got the right product with regards to the fighters. We've got to make sure we get the right thing. And ironically, we seem to be doing so well. Our local guys seem to be doing so well in all of our TUFs. We've got 2 Irish kids now in TUF 19. So that's a whole new dimension. I think the most important thing though is to find the right broadcaster who wants to take that product. So if you think about our world just for a second, we've just come out of a London event with over 1 million people watching live on television. It's attracted the attention of the broadcaster, and I want to make sure that broadcaster's committed to the business and committed to the brand. And in doing that, I want them to produce an Ultimate Fighter in conjunction with us. So now it's a selection process. Once we get that selection process, part of the creative process will be who's going to be in it, what does it look like, who's it going to appeal to, is it a home nations, is it a Britain versus the USA, is it Britain versus Brazil, what is that next step? So there's more to come on that, but we're in those discussions, and believe me, I'm passionate about getting this Ultimate Fighter on the networks here in the UK.
Brilliant. All right. Well, we got the final full card revealed for UFC Fight Night Berlin, but everyone's still waiting to hear what we're going to get in Dublin. So are there any fights that have been confirmed or anything you can announce at the moment?
I always leave this very, very sensitive subject to Dana and Sean and Joe Silva. But I think if we were to listen to Conor McGregor, we'd have to assume that Conor McGregor wants to be on that card. There's, I think there was Norman Park came out in his recent fight and said, "I want to be in Dublin. Bring these guys to Dublin. I'll fight them in Dublin." So we love that, right? So it makes for great and exciting news all the time. But as I said to Colin McGregor, we're not having the Dublin event for you. It's a UFC Dublin event, and we'll decide who's going to be on the card, and you can imagine that response.
Brilliant. Well, before Dublin, we've got Abu Dhabi next Friday, and then we've got UFC Fight Night Berlin on the 31st of May. So thank you very much for your time, and we'll see you in Berlin in about a month or so, 2 months.
Catch you.
Brilliant.
Take care.
Cheers, Gary. Thanks
Bye.
a lot.